Ahoy! You know what time of the year it is, so as promised, here comes the gear showcase video for 2023. As usual, I'll be adding a quick note to everything to explain why I chose that build in particular, or well, in most cases why I couldn't choose the one I wanted. Hint, it's all about bad luck and low budget. Anyway, let's begin with the equipment. The weapons haven't changed much. I think the only thing new is I managed to buy a Divine 15 seal for one of them and applied that to the Archidium one because it had lower Divine. Dragonite is supposedly coming soon, so maybe if I win the lottery I replace one of them with Ultimate Grade later on. The 4 armor pieces, well, I'm a big fan of high critical rate builds, and for that I needed tons of maximum critical rate too, which is why I've got a slot with MCR in both gloves and suit along with the Mastercraft attributes. And tons of critical rate in the helmet to fill that limit. Unfortunately, the boots cannot be made in a similar fashion, and while the HP steel limit from Mastercrafted boots would be awesome, they are far too overpriced for my budget. The epaulet is Demonite, which is currently the highest available one. The same cannot be said about the bike, but it's been serving me quite well for a while. Note the MCR in the slots of this one too. My dream would be to buy Extreme 5 for it someday, but that is still just a dream for now because it's well above what I can afford. There isn't much to say about the Carnelian, the belt and the talisman, they are all maxed out fortunately. I did make all of them plus 15 and plus 10 myself back during the Chaos Safeguard event, but over time I sold them and traded in the money for higher grades, so they are maxed now. The charm is the same old. Frankly, I don't think it would be worth replacing that because combined charms don't provide much additional benefits. The Arcanas I both upgraded from plus 15 with the update that increased their upgrade cap, and plus 17 was as far as I could get with them. Unfortunately, the Chaos one is account bound, so it won't be easy to replace, but I'm planning to one day buy a plus 21. Well, sweet dreams. Let's move on to the rings. Not much to say about that. Currently, we don't have Chaos upgrade on them in the European PC version, and plus 5 rings are just about impossible to obtain here because World boss fights aren't very popular in my server. Also, I've got a spare critical ring plus 2 to replace the Ring of Luck when using Aura. Recently, we've had many events where the last boss in Premium DX dungeons would drop event items, and that's where I farmed enough safeguards to get my earrings to Chaos 13 and my bracelets to, well, higher than Chaos 3. The amulet wasn't so lucky, it failed on every attempt after 13. But I'm looking forward to more events like that in the future. I've got a brooch with PvE critical damage, which of course I bought and not farmed myself. I'm far too weak to farm Awakened Mirage Island, but fortunately others did it a lot and were sending brooches. Now for the effectors. Except for the Force Shell effector, everything else is maxed out and they are really awesome. Force Shell I didn't want to spend more on because its dominating stat is the deduct protection and the rest is mostly just PvP, which I don't care much about. Let's switch pages to the pet page. Here you can see my pirate ship. Sorry, it's pirate sheep with a long E. Imagine if we had a pirate ship costume for bike though, I'd totally love sailing on that. Blink would become obsolete with a ride like that. Anyway, so the pet. I recently managed to invest into 10 MCR slots, which are really awesome. The rest of the slots in Covenant and Trust, I was using all the selective pet reset kits from events lately, and they are coming along nicely. All of them increase damage, which is the main goal, but ideally I guess it would be full penetration in Covenant and a mix of penetration and ignore resist critical rate in Trust, but that is quite decent for my liking already. As for the costumes, I'm still wearing the same pirate costume with, yep, you guessed it, more MCR. And for a high critical rate build, what's better in epic option than critical damage? Which is a philosophy I followed for the vehicle and wing costumes too. The slots in bike, well, this was affordable, and the same goes for wings, but they are all pretty good. Let's move on to the runes now. Basically, I've got everything important except the new ones and the Labyrinth and Word Boss exclusive ones. Cancel Ignore Penetration is the latest addition, which I obtained from a legendary cube of Awakened Mirage Island from events. Of the blended runes, well, I was using some of the otherwise nearly worthless rune I kept getting from the DP cubes, so I've got a few new ones, but nothing fancy. Blended runes aren't a very beneficial part of the game in my opinion. And my PvE All Attack Up Card Maroon reached level 3 just a couple of weeks ago. So I guess the next level isn't going to happen before the end of this year. Some people often ask me about the passive skills I've got, and here they are. The 2 for magic attack, the 2 for defense rate, and the 2 for attack rate. Wizard desperately needs attack rate, and with martial items it's got a high defense rate by default, which is worth building further on. And the magic attack is just for the damage output. Speaking of skills, let's look at their transcendence. At Overlord level 100 all the passive bonuses are applied automatically, and I did a reset from my Force Archer era to better accommodate my points to a BM3 oriented wizard. As for the Aura Awakening part, I first focused on maxing out Lightning Aura for extra damage, which I regularly use in dungeons, and then use the rest of the points on Ice Aura in case I need it for survivability in dungeons. It's quite helpful in Glacius Inferno's last wave, that's for sure. Let's see the wings. I've got them at the currently maximum available, level 300, with some pretty damn useless wing buff, which I haven't used at all ever since I made the updated Force Wing Guide video. But there's plenty of good stats obtained from the wing training system, as you can see here. I chose PvE in every possible slot and tried to focus on the damage output part mainly with the training points. Now let's see the myth levels. I'm currently at the Ophanim or whatever grade and still got a few of the most significant slots to fill. Unfortunately, myth slots haven't exactly been kind to me, so I had to do dozens of attempts to get through the holy power requirement to unlock all the slots. Also, unfortunately, most of the slots in the bottom part are for PvP, which are useless to me. So they will be the first I'm retrying once every slot is filled. Currently I'm on my way to the 3rd resurrection and I'm not using Force Gems for that. Let's move on to Stellar Link next. Well, my main focus here was to get the links done without much care about the slots themselves. Of course, links 2 and 4 are useless to me because they are PvP based, so with the others done, I'm currently spending my Selenas on trying to get some decent slots in line 4. So far I've had a couple of with decent amounts of ignore penetration. In the future I'd like to get my 5th line to blue or possibly even purple for that awesome critical damage boost. Now for the war based stuff. I maxed out gold and platinum merit a good while ago, which is fortunate with the new IP type of war added, which replaced most of the wars that people with jobs can attend. It's just a waste of time really. I only hope that they'll remove that new type of war someday or greatly rework it. Anyway, so merit. In Platinum, I focused on the damage part first, with the PvE page entirely done and the ignore resistance page mostly. I might reset this one day to get rid of some of the ignore resistances that cannot be expanded to field. After that, it was time to get some extra defense rate and attack rate, then put a great amount of points into Iron Wheel to get my HP steal and special mastery done. Then the rest of the points went into War Guardian, which was a mistake I might fix with the mentioned reset. As for the honor medal part, I've got the basic stats in Captain, which are the best for some extra damage, then tried to focus on getting critical damage, amp, attack and ignore resist critical damage in general and commander. Right now I'm working on getting more penetration in hero grade. Thank goodness for the last boss drop events in premium DX dungeons. And in legend grade, I just used a couple dozen selective resets to get at least useful slots, then left it at that. I don't have time these days to level them up, but they still contribute a bit to my damage output. I still owe you a couple of things, one of which is titles and achievements. Well, I got a list of all the stats here which are passively added by completed achievements. As for the titles, I'm using the influencer title in the event slot and the guild title for a max level guild. My latest addition to titles is the combined level 1800 achievement, which is really awesome. And last but not least, collection. I've got plenty of the easier pages done and tried to aim for partial collection in most harder pages that didn't require sacrificing very expensive items or upgrading stuff. I'm currently working on 3 things. The Dungeon Seal pages, the Hales Research pages in the special section, and still trying to collect ultimate grade scrolls for the boss page to get 60% there. They all will likely take several more years to complete at this rate. So here's a summary of my current stats. You can see the offensive ones here and not sure what else to say about them, so I guess pause the video if you'd like to analyze them some more. Here's the page for defensive ones. I guess the same applies. And the other stats. I consider it rather weird that HP still wasn't included in the defense page because I think that's the most significant stat for survivability, but whatever. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and as usual, the comments are open for questions and discussions. Ahoy!